there is something as an information, but in Hungarian it is a true information. It has a meaning, and in English it is simply a joke. So it has no meaning. It's nonsense. Okay. Actually, what we wanted to ask you that looking for such kind of translations in the town, and there might be many translations like that. Whatever. Could you perhaps tell us from your memories? Could you recover from your memories some bad signage from Budapest, from this town? But you realized, I don't know, at the airport or in the city center, or here in the market, or elsewhere. Our experiences was that many times if there are signage in two languages, in Hungarian and English, so many times it also happens another kind of phenomena. I would like to ask the Hungarians to try to translate the signage of the following buffet but I found first in the Sziget Festival. What is that? I will not try to translate that joke to English, but please, you foreign students, communicate with your Hungarian teammates, and they will try to translate it somehow. But it's interesting that there is also an official translation, but is döner. So this is the official translation to English.
Pitaja and pita is the same thing?
So,
Yeah. Okay. What is anya?
Mine's the moms.
Okay.
Why is everybody looking at me?
So, what is strange for us that there is also an English translation, but actually the English translation is not English, the explanation, the international explanation, but Turkish. However, everybody understands that what does it mean, döner? Yes. Yes, no, yes. Do you understand what does it mean, döner? Okay, are you from? So somebody, Bolivia. Okay, so of course not, because it's a Turkish term for a kind of sandwich, similar to the hamburger but very different. I mean, functionally it's a kind of hamburger, no? But you can buy it and you can eat it from your hand, but it's very different. But what is strange that I am sure, as I am Hungarian, that this is the English translation or international translation of the anyám pitája, because in Hungarian we have another term for that. You Hungarian student, could you tell us that how we could tell a döner? How we tell it in Hungarian? We Hungarians, we will never tell döner. We have another term. Of course, gyros. But it's very, very strange. Actually, you know that in the history, Greece and Turkish had many conflicts. Even in northern Cyprus, until now they have some conflicts and whatever. So there is one food, what is a kind of hamburger, what is called in Turkish döner, and the döner became, the true international nomination. What is mostly well known all over the world, except Bolivia, and I suppose that also China, but they didn't answer. Are you also from China? And did you understand the term döner?
Well, I know what's gyros, but I don't know the döner.
Okay, because the gyros is the Hungarian term.
Yeah.
So in Budapest you can study what is gyros, but of course you cannot study what is döner, because in Hungary we tell it gyros. So we studied the Greek term for döner. Okay, but if you would tell gyros for a gyros, you would ask as gyros, for example, in Germany, then the owner who would suppose to be somebody from Turkey, even from Kurdistan, he would think that you are insulting. It is somebody as an insult that you ask in a Greek name the donor. Do you understand that context? Okay, so we have a very, very special Hungarian peculiarity that in Hungarian we studied first the Greek name. I don't know why. I suppose that in 90, when, first time this kind of gyros buffets or doner buffets started, perhaps the first somebody who opened the first buffet like this, he was a Greek immigrant or he studied, that kind of job in Greece. I don't know why. But in Hungary we studied that thing is called gyros. And all over the world it is called in its Turkish name. I mean all over the world except, South America and East, West Asia, because there is no new. And on the other hand, there is also a conflictuous situation if you ask from a Turkish in a Turkish restaurant if you ask for gyros, except in Hungary. In Hungary it is possible. Okay. Last one question before I start my presentation. Do you have any similar example from your country, from your countryside, different kind of signage in different languages or whatever? One more question that I suppose that in the city center of Budapest there is signage well enough in English, so you can understand that what is written. But do it exist some area of Budapest where you really don't understand, so you foreign students, you really don't understand that what is written. So everything is written only in Hungarian and there is no English signage. For example, I think that in the city center, even in the small restaurants, you can find the name of the foods at least in two languages, in Hungarian and in English. But what are your perception? Still existing monolinguistic restaurants in Budapest? So restaurants where you enter and there is only the name of the plates in Hungarian and nothing in English. There are some, yes. Mm-hmm. And what can you do in these restaurants? Do you ask for, sorry, sir, what is written here and what is written here, or what are you doing? You ask the help of the Google Translator. Yeah. Google Translator. Yeah. Uh-huh. And does it work? Sometimes. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. So actually the project what we are doing in the Hungarian-Slovakian borderland is a very, very similar project. So the context is about Hungarians. So, for example, we know Hungarian living in Budapest when we wish to visit Slovakia. Now you know that the Slovakian border is only 35 kilometers. And sorry, who in this room visited already Slovakia? I saw that almost everybody. When did you arrive to Budapest? This September? It's already 2 months and you never visited Slovakia yet? It's only 1 hour by train. Okay, whatever. So I saw that already everybody visited Slovakia, but even if not, so usually it is very common that Hungarian people we are going to the other side of the border, and also many Slovakian people are coming all the time, as tourists or simply by shopping or for both or for job or for many other purposes. we made a common project with an NGO, so with a non-governmental organization from Slovakia and the Corvinus University, with the aim of understanding this problematic of signage and bilingual signage in Slovakia and Hungary, and how to make the life comfortable for Slovakian tourists and for Hungarian tourists in Slovakia. And we asked approximately 100 restaurants and museums and touristic attractions, touristic places in Hungary, and also another 100 in Slovakia. And the interviewers, they also made some statistics about the signage. So how many writings I can see and in what language, and which one is the bigger, which one is the smaller, just like Isma mentioned. But they also made some interviews during the studies. And we got 3 very important experiences. The first experience about the bilingualism. So we saw that in the Hungarian-Slovakian borderland, it is so large borderland on the one hand. On the second hand, there are many, Hungarian mother tongue inhabitants in Slovakia, and there are also important Slovakian mother tongue inhabitants in Hungary. So we saw that there will be many bilingual signage, both in Slovakia, both in Hungary. And we realized that there is almost no, or not so many. The big blue area, that means that approximately the 65 or 70% in every country of the signage are monolinguistic. That means that only written in Hungarian or only written in Slovakian. But we had also another surprise, what was bigger, that there were relatively many signage written in 2 languages, when the 2 languages were, the Hungarian plus English, or Slovakian plus English. But there is almost missing the signages in Hungarian and Slovakian, what is ununderstandable. So in the Slovakian-Hungarian borderland in Slovakia, there are many towns, important towns, just like that town, but is 35 kilometers from here by train. Párkány or Sturovo in Slovakia. In Sturovo, the 80% of the population is Hungarian, so everybody speaks Hungarian, but also, of course, everybody speaks Slovakian too, because it belongs to Slovakia. And there is almost no Hungarian-Slovakian signage, or much more less than we thought. There are more Slovakian and English signage than Slovakian and Hungarian, what is ununderstandable for us. In March, so this March, because of the Brexit, British will exit from the European Union, but we in East Central Europe, we still communicate in English among each other. But is somehow crazy, that why we accept this dominance of the English language. We had also one very important result that talks about a non-verbal form of communication, that is, in what language a place means a touristic attraction or a restaurant or a hotel or whatever. So how a place is communicating for us, in what language. And sometimes the places in Hungary didn't communicate in Slovakian or in English or in German, but yes, they communicated on the language of the money. What means that they even marked the prices in euros. And if the prices were written in euros, then the places were more comfortable, even for the Slovakians and for the other foreign people using euros. So were more comfortable for the Slovakians. What was surprising for us that many times were more comfortable these places for the Slovakians, even if the change rate were bad. Do you know what is the change rate euro and forint? 300, 310 approximately. So we realized that there was a cafe when and in that cafe there was written the prices in euros and in Hungarian forints. If you changed, then the rate were only 250 forints. So we saw that that is a kind of robbery. But we also asked, I mean, my colleagues, she lived for a moment, but they asked the Slovakian tourists in that place that it is sympathetic for them, you know, these prices in euros, or it is not sympathetic for them because it's robbery. And they says that they don't care about the robbery. It's very sympathetic for them because if the prices are written in euros, then they can realize that they are very welcome in this place. And of course they can understand that the change rate, might be a bit, you know, worse than at the bank office. But who knows? Because, you know, in the bank offices or in the, I don't know, exchange offices, there is a course rate, plus there is, you know, some extra fees and some extra, I don't know what, conditions for today and whatever. And even if you pay with your credit card, then who knows that how much will be the extra fees for using the, the credit card in the foreign country. So if it is written in euro, the price of the coffee, then I feel myself comfortable because I can recognize that for that price I wish a coffee or I don't. So I can make a decision. So that is also a kind of communication. That is also a kind of linguistic landscape that we can communicate among each other in the language of the money. Okay, a second topic is the xenophobia. Do you know what is xenophobia? Okay. Is anybody xenophobic in this room? Sometimes, yeah. No, but there are some needs for, no? This is an antique, very bad joke. So, there is xenophobia or there is no? Actually, let's see first the macro data. These macro data are not from our data gathering, because for that kind of data you have to ask many people, and we only ask, you know, 100 places in Slovakia and 100 places, and we didn't ask you know, the people. We only asked restaurants, hotels, and whatever. So this is not our data. This is the data of a big international research. But what was interesting, that in the Hungarian and Slovakian area, people usually don't hate each other. There is, I am not sure that you can really see, but there is written something. I will read it for you. It is written here, the Pires. Okay, the Pires. Okay, every groups here are ethnic groups, or this means migrants or refugees, and here are the Pires. Okay, do you know what ethnic groups the Pires belongs to, or who are the Pires? Anybody knows? Do you know? Yeah. Could you explain for us?
Well, they do not exist, but they were put into survey where sociologists or I don't know, scientists want to know if how people were looking towards other cultures or other kind of people that they didn't know, and they got very negative comments. People said that they don't like them.
Yeah, definitely. So the sociologist who invented the Pires as a nation or as an ethnic group, his name is András Sík. So he had this idea that we should ask not only, you know, that how much do you like or how much do you hate, you know, the Jewish, Roma, Americans, Chinese, Slovak, Hungarian, whatever. But you also have to put, you know, a nation but do not exist. Let's see that how people hate in general, you know, anybody else. You know? So that's why he invented this term Pires, and you can see that people usually don't like the Pires. No? So if So if the number is high, then it means that people don't like. Okay, if that means that usually people don't like nobody except they like themselves, Hungarians, and they like the Slovaks. Why? Because they know Slovaks and they know Hungarians a lot, no, in this borderland area. And practically the result, it means that we don't like nobody who we don't know. But yes, we do like everybody who we know. So this is the correct interpretation of this result. What means that practically there is no more xenophobia regarding to Hungarian, Slovakian, whatever. On the other hand, Cornelia and her team realized that people don't really like to speak on the language of the others. So Hungarians don't really like to speak in Slovakian, and Slovakians don't really like to speak in Hungarian. Of course, except the ethnic minorities. So that is a question that why. And they realized, this is the result of the fieldwork. So they realized that people doesn't like to speak in the language of the others because of some kind of phobias. They are afraid from. They are afraid from many things. So first of all, they are afraid that the other somebody will not understand them. So I am Hungarian. I go to Párkány, know what is the next Hungarian, next Slovakian village if you cross the border at Esztergom. I go to Párkány and I enter to a shop. There is somebody working there, and can I ask him, in Hungarian that please, I don't know, I wish to buy that phone. May I ask it in Hungarian or I cannot? So first of all, I am afraid that he will not understand me. Okay, this is the first. Second, I am afraid that perhaps he will understand me, but perhaps he is a Slovak who don't like Hungarians, and he will think that it is somehow an insult. Just like if I ask gyros in Germany in a kebab bar. The third, that I am afraid that that he will not like me, the vendor. And finally, I am afraid in other contexts that perhaps they will understand me, but they will not answer me in Hungarian because they don't know in Hungarian good enough. So these were the result that many times people are afraid. But if people are not afraid, and sometimes it works, that people are not afraid, then we can use the language, the Hungarian and Slovakian language, as an intermediator. And we don't have to look for other intermediator languages such as English, or we don't, or we can continue to communicate. So the most important result of the research was that don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to use your mother tongue in the next country. In the majority of cases, it works if you try it. And we have a final sentence that if there is no xenophobia, and somehow, so with difficulties, but whatever, you can use your mother tongue. So even Slovakians can use the mother tongue, so the Slovak, in the Slovakian borderland in Hungary, and also we Hungarians, we can use our mother tongue close to the border. So we can stress that it is something, but it's not bad to the business. Nobody a shop owner will not lose, or restaurant owner, they will not lose a client because of multilinguistic signage. So we can stress already that multilingualism or bilingualism, it is not bad for the business. But is it good for the business? That was our next question. And we realized that yes, so bilingualism and even multilingualism is good for the business. So from what point of view? I'm not sure that you can read the text what is written there, or you can, but you have to turn your hand a little bit. But we used a very specific kind of technique. Technique is somehow an innovation of this research, what we implemented from the Roma researches. I am not sure that you know that how people is classified in the practice of Hungarian surveys as Roma. There are two ways for. I know that you know already, but everybody else do you have any idea that how people could recognize in a survey as Roma? What do you think? There are two ways. Okay, as you arrived only in September, then a short explanation for you. Roma is an ethnic minority in Hungary. Of course, nobody knows that how many people are Roma, but everybody thinks that they are from 5 to 10% of the total population. The problem is that if you ask from the people if you are Roma or you are not, and many times they think that they will have some problems if they will say yes, but many times even if they are Roma, they will tell you no. So if you ask people that if you are Roma or you are not Roma, then according to this, the number of the Roma population will be not between 5 to 10%, but less than 1%. Okay, so there is only less than 1% of the population who says, yes, I am Roma, and I have Roma identification. So there is one other technique when it was invented according to our ex-colleague János Letenyei from this department, when even the interviewer can add an information that according to the interviewer, the respondent is Roma or is not Roma. Okay, this is another way. So, how good is the business? That was our question. And we didn't ask, the respondent. So we didn't ask the restaurant owner or the hotel owner that how good is your business, how big are your incomes, whatever. We made in a very similar way. How good is the business according to our interviewer? Okay, so that was our technique. But is relatively unusual. So it is a methodological innovation in the business area. It is not really usual. So you can see that we had several different categories, just like prestige, the prestige of the place. And what is important is the red lines and the blue lines. You can see that the red lines are all the time taller, bigger than the blue lines. And what is the meaning? The red lines refers on the quality of the multilingual places. Meanwhile, monolingual places, when the signage is only in Hungarian or only in Slovak, are less good places. Less good in estimated incomes, less good in prestige, and so on, and so on, and so on. So, that is something that was perhaps surprising if you don't know the area. But if you know a little bit the area, it is not so surprising. It is just the result of a very short, looking on internet from some home pages, and you can see that here are two home pages. The first one is something very fancy, very sexy, very charming, very nice, very And you could think that this is the homepage of a very good restaurant, no? And actually, this is the homepage of a very good restaurant. Of course, first you can read the homepage of that restaurant in English, but then you can find the same homepage in Hungarian, Slovak, and many other languages. The next one is, a bit less, best level of prestige or perhaps incomes or whatever, according to the respondent and according to us. No, that if you can see that reception, it is a normal reception, but not an extra good one. No, and that homepage is not a bad homepage, but a monolinguistic homepage. Every information you can get only in Hungarian. So approximately that is the difference in general in the Hungarian-Slovakian borderland. Good places, fancy places are multilinguistic places. And old-fashioned places are monolinguistic, or in Hungarian, or in Slovakian, but not in both languages, and even not in English, or even not in German. We also had an interview question. What do you think, if the bilingualism is good for business or it isn't? And you can see that the high majority of the respondents, even in Hungary and even in Slovakia, everybody will agree that multilingualism or bilingualism, it is good for the business. So now the only thing that we wish to do is to give this information to the commerce and restaurant and touristy places and whatever, and give them that kind of advice that please put multilingual or signages in 2 languages or even more languages. But we also realized during the project that perhaps it will be not such an easy project. Let's see that what are our goals. So our goal is that to create kind of trademark of bilingual places or even multilingual places. That is the same what is written there. Ano Nesa Pácsi, and also written in Hungarian, igen tessék. And we also think that perhaps we will develop it with English or German or whatever categories. And the aim is that if you will sign that kind of signage at the entrance of a shop, then you can see that in that place there will be everything written. So even the menu, for example, in a restaurant, you can be sure that in that place the menu will be written both in Slovakian, both in Hungary. And that could be a kind of trademark what we can put in at the main door of restaurants even in Hungary and even in Slovakia, vice versa. So it seems to be an easy goal, but it seems to be that from some point of view it will be problematic to do. First of all, that in these 4 categories we realized already that magazines or commerce in general have different kind of problems than restaurant. Let's see first the case of the commerce, what is the most ununderstandable for me. Do you know what is the Tesco? The Tesco, what is the big hypermarket? And this is the biggest chain in Hungary and also in Slovakia. And the name of that chain actually is Tesco Global. But actually the Tesco is not so global as it would be supposed. This is a result of a search what I made on the homepage of Tesco. I put it myself in the map somewhere here, relatively close to the biggest Slovakian town, what is Košice, Kassa in Hungarian. So I put it myself somewhere here, and I asked the Google, or sorry, not the Google, but I asked the homepage of Tesco that please let's show me that where are the closest shops. And I really don't understand why, but the only results what Tesco allowed to find for me are in Hungary. And Tesco don't give you the information if there are any Tesco shops in Slovakia. Why? I have no idea. Okay. Second, what about the bilingualism of a Tesco? No, so you know that Tesco is a British company and they are all over Europe, perhaps all over the world, I don't know. And of course, it would be the easiest thing of the world to put, you know, international signage in the shops. No, so for them it would be very easy. I would think, no, as social scientists, that for them it would be very, very easy to put the name of every product what they are selling, both in Hungarian and English and Slovakian. No, because they already have all this information. No, that they don't have to translate with the Google Translator, no, the name of, I don't know, milk and the other foods. No, because they already have this information because of the international business. Also in Slovakian, Polish, and all the languages almost of the world. Surprisingly, if you are looking for the homepage of Tesco, what I mention all the time, that is the biggest Hungarian commercial chain. The second one is the Coop, and the third one is the CBA, and the fourth one is the Ocean, and so on and so on. So we really studied it. So Tesco is the biggest Hungarian commercial chain, and the homepage is only available in Hungarian, if you are looking in Hungary. Okay, you cannot choose in other languages. You cannot choose that I wish to know, you know, this advertisement, akciós ajánlatok, I wish to read it in Slovakian or English or whatever. All this information are only available in Hungarian. Actually, if you are, you wish to buy something here in Hungary, in the online shop, in the online, you know, web shop of Tesco, then already on the online web shop you can switch to English too. So it is possible to, you know, visiting the web shop in English. But how could you find the web shop if the web shop is only written in Hungarian somewhere here? Bevásárlás. Okay, so if you know that what bevásárlás means, it means web shop, then there you can find a solution for switching to English. So our result was that surprisingly, the global or multinational companies are nationals. I mean, they have a national linguistic policy, what is very, very, very surprising for us. To be precise, it is not so surprising for me. What time I still have? Okay, nothing. So, if you are interested, I will now going until the conclusions, okay? But anybody who is interested more deeply or wish to join somehow to this kind of researches, you are welcome. We will stay here and we can discuss about this topic. So, actually, what was surprising for us that multinational global chains seems to be as as national companies in the meaning of linguistic landscapes. When we are discussing about this anno Ness Apache project, then we had some Romanian previous experience that we studied. That was the Igentesség Dapovtic project, what is similar for the others, but there are also some other differences. So actually, here we are with this project. So we made already that kind of research. We have already some ideas how to create a common trademark for bilingualism and how it will be good for tourism and simply for human beings. No, if you wish to cross the border. I am afraid that we don't know yet well enough that how to sell this idea for global companies just like Tesco's. or how to sell these ideas for even for small places, just like restaurants what are not bilingual yet. So that's the point where we are at the moment. Many thanks for your interest. Many thanks for your for being present here with us today. And if anybody have questions, then don't hesitate to coming here and let's discuss about this topic.